everybody. Welcome back to the show. One of my favorite moments, or not favorite moments, of the Golden Globes last night was when Paul Giamatti won, and he made Halle Berry delightfully uncomfortable on the stage.
Yes, Mr. Giamatti won for Best Performance by an Actor in a Motion Picture, Comedy, or Musical for his role as Barney in Barney's version, and we had director Richard J. Lewis join us last September during the Vancouver International Film Festival to talk about Barney's version. Here we are.
You're married to a woman who has a beautiful rack.
This is the paternal wisdom I'm gonna get.
Many successful marriages have been built on far less.
Why don't you just skip ahead from where I'm annoying and inappropriate to where I'm charming and endearing?
I need to get laid.
Classy, Dad.
How long have you ever had to hold out, Mr. Three Wives?
All right, that's a little bit of Barney's version. We had the chance to see it yesterday. It opens up VIFF tonight, and you'll be hearing a lot about it when it hits the theaters and all the way through, I think, probably until Oscar season as well. We are very happy to be joined by the director of Barney's version, Richard J. Lewis.
Hello.
Hey, Richard, nice to see you.
Congratulations on the movie. I heard this just took a minute to make.
Yeah, that's right. How many years?
Plus 4 years.
How many years from sort of Mr. Lantos, from his first idea that he wanted to make Mordecai Richler's Barney's version into a movie? How many years was it?
Well, I started bugging him about 2001, so now it's 2010, so 9 years.
And what made you ride it out? I mean, you've obviously done many episodes of CSI. You've been very, very busy with that. But what made you ride it out and continue with this project and not give up on it?
I don't know. It just got under my skin, you know. I mean, I read it like in 1999, and the character sort of stayed with me. And I thought, this is an epic film with an epic character, which would make great cinema. And you know, it was like, I always thought the most important decision a director can make is the material, you know, they choose.
Yeah.
And this thing just, it gets, once it gets there, you know, you got to make it.
Yeah,
just,
well, and,
you know?
and the way that you chose to make it as well. I mean, let's talk about the cast first. How did you decide on who was going to be in this? Did you decide, or did other people sort of?
Well, you know, I mean, I cast it with the producer, Robert Lantos. We cast it together. I had a real propensity for Paul Giamatti playing Barney. I wanted him to from the start. I couldn't actually imagine anyone else doing
that's what
it.
I was kind of asking.
Kind of rumply kind of
curmudgeon-y.
Yeah, that's how I envisioned the character when I read the book.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it's very hard to see a character that you have in your mind come to the screen, but as soon as I saw him in the film, it just made so much sense.
It did, and you know, he wore the character so well, like a nice old winter sweater, you know. He was never sort of. Some actors they kind of push and pull against the character. This one just sort of he slipped into.
Yeah.
And he sort of little by little, I watched him transform himself into a version of Mordecai.
Yeah.
You know, I could see that, you know, he'd seen footage and some pictures, and we added little touches like, you know, the glasses around the neck, but for the most part, he just sort of morphed into the guy.
How exciting is that for you as a director? I mean, obviously for an actor, you know, they're involved in the moment and everything, but as someone who's sort of, you know, creating as you go, what's it like for you to watch an actor and they really start to nail it, and it's just, you know, you can tell that.
Well, I mean, you try to put yourself in the actor's shoes. As a good director, you know, you want to sort of be moving part and parcel with the lead or the leads of your film.
Yeah.
So if they're making the right moves, it's, you know, you're making the right moves. So it's sort of symbiotic.
It's like a dance.
You know, yeah.
And Dustin Hoffman, I just adore him.
Plays
and what
Barney's dad.
Barney's dad. I mean, that was fantastic.
Can you believe he's in this movie?
Can you?
He would, you know, I still am pinching myself, honestly, and I would like get a phone call, you know, and on the printout it would say Dustin Hoffman. I'd be like, no way.
Yeah, you show it to all your friends.
No, my wife. I go, he's on the phone. It's him. I swear to God, it's no prank.
Now, for those who have read the book, it did a lot of Montreal politics in the book. Paris was involved. You guys made some slight changes, but they really worked as well. Why did you decide to make those changes?
Well, I mean, I think early off, you know, we had decided that, you know, Paris had been done a lot, you know, just to have, you know, in films like The Moderns, Alan Rudolph's The Moderns, and there was the whole bohemian art, you know, culture in Paris had been done, not really done in Italy, and actually Mordecai's story was more his actual his story, not the novel, but his story took place in Italy, where he himself had sort of an elopement weird thing that happened, and so it made a lot of sense to go to Italy. And because the book was so loved there, we felt like, you know, that's...
But Montreal still does play a part, of course.
Montreal is huge in the movie. I mean, it's actually
character.
a cultural. Yeah, it's actually.
Well,
you know, it's very important to the culture.
I mean, once again, for people who have read the book, there are, you know, there's a lot of references to francophone versus anglophone culture and things like that. But essentially, the story is this universal. You know, this guy, this man, and his sort of journey through life.
And the love of his life. I mean, essentially, it's a love story.
You have 3 female leads, I guess, the 3 different wives in this, and every single one of them so different, but just, I mean, crazy how good they were in this. And once again, when you see that interaction happening between the characters and obvious chemistry, it must be like a kid in a candy shop. Like you just kind of clap your hands together.
Well, you know, sometimes the crew, you know, would applaud sometimes after takes.
Is that rare?
Yeah, it's so rare.
Yeah.
And you know when
Crews have seen everything.
And they're just punching the clock, man. It's like, but you know,
I worked on Batman. Are you kidding me?
Right. And you know, you see like, or there's just silence. You know, I go cut, and then everybody's just like.
Magic.
There was a moment in the movie where Paul is just listening to Leonard Cohen's Dance Me to the End of Love. And he's listening to it in his kitchen, and the camera's pulling away from him. And he just puts down the knife. He's cutting onions. And he puts down the knife, and he starts to listen. He closes his eyes, and everybody was just like, whoa, that's amazing. And he's not even saying anything.
Okay, Venice Film Festival, it was hugely received. Toronto, hugely received.
Oh, it's great in Toronto, it was great.
And I hate to use the O word, but people are talking Oscars for this. What is it like for you to have a film received like that?
Well, I also hate to use the O word, so
we will pretend they didn't say it.
But it's
you know, it's very satisfying. I mean, it's very satisfying. We you know, put an awful lot of work into this film, and we had high expectations. And you know, I just hope that I wanted to make sure that people laughed and cried.
I cried.
And so there was a nice emotional journey for people.
Where did you see it with an audience first? Did you see it in Venice with an audience?
The first print of the film I saw was in Venice.
Yeah.
With an audience.
What's that like? Because you know, you get so insular and you're sort of doing the work, and then you know, you're doing the editing and everything, and you think you have something beautiful, but then to sit back and watch it with other people.
Well, you know, Venice was weird. Is that because it's subtitled?
It's a floating city,
and it's hard
weird
to,
anyway.
It's really It is weird. It's totally weird.
Whistler was huge in Italy.
He was huge in Italy, and the audience really got it. But the subtitles were weird because there's no Yiddish equivalents in Italy. They're just not. So, like, you know, there's Mazel Tov is just congratulations, which doesn't translate. And there's so many other, like Boychik. It's like, you know, friend. You know, I mean, it's just like, it's weird. But the real Toronto was very satisfying because it really hit home to the Richler lovers and
Has
all
the family seen it?
Yeah.
And what did they think?
Florence loved it and has been singing its praises.
How hugely
as
emotional
Noah and Jacob, and I don't know who else has seen it.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Congratulations on it.